broadcast of the ASEAN Basketball League may not be reused in any way, shape, or form without an express written consent of the ABL.
Go right there, another block by Miguel.
Wide open is Regulus. Back-to-back triples for Mono Vampire.
Only 7 remaining. He makes his move. Young forces it up and in! CC hasn't made a shot before that.
Pretty good so far here in the first half.
Lai, oh everyone for the Black Bears finding the bottom of the net. Leaky with a big steal. Leaky for 3. That goes in. What a play!
Here tonight at the Southorn Stadium here in Wanchai as we take a look at the previous outing of the home team.
Well, an impressive performance by Hong Kong Eastern. Obviously shooting the lights out. They shot 18 triples in that game to really blow out a very tough Taipei Fubon Braves squad.
Now, on the other hand, the Saigon Heat, after coming up with a 103-95 win against the Macau Wolf Warriors, suffered a disheartening 95-65 loss at the hands of the Formosa Dreamers at home.
Well, it was a very disappointing performance. The big story there, of course, Graham going from 45 points to being scoreless and having to leave early, and that was just a disastrous moment for the Saigon Heat.
And that is why Coach Kevin Yurkus and the Saigon Heat have decided to make some changes, bringing in former Brooklyn net Tayshaun Taylor, and he will be matched up against Brandis Rayleigh Ross.
Rayleigh Ross has just been a spark plug for this Hong Kong Eastern squad. They've won 2 out of their last 3 games, and it's no surprise, no accident that Rayleigh Ross has led the charge for Hong Kong Eastern in the point guard position.
Scored 27 points rather in their last game. This is the first time that Rayleigh Ross top scored for Hong Kong Eastern since he joined the team last January 8th.
And on the other side, you mentioned that Tayshaun Taylor, he will also be working together with Mike Bell to lead the team for the Saigon Heat. And this guy has a very good pedigree. He was a draft pick in the 2012 NBA draft, 41st overall. He did play for the Brooklyn Nets, and he has been bouncing around in different leagues. And we talked to Coach Kevin Yurkus. He expects a lot of things from this talented Tayshaun Taylor.
This is the first time I've seen or heard Coach Kevin Yurkus feel so confident about the possible outcome of his team in a game here in this season of the ABL, and it's because of the arrival of Tayshaun Taylor. You just took a look at the starters for Hong Kong Eastern, and this is the new look starting 5 for the Saigon Heat.
We got a chance to talk, and as we mentioned, and for Coach Kevin Yurkus, he did mention that Taylor is the guy that they've always wanted to really help out and as one of the world imports for the Saigon Heat. And let's see if he will really be, I mean, we haven't had a lot of time to see how Taylor can work with his new teammates. Let's see if they can find that chemistry early on, because this is a very important game against Hong Kong Eastern. Both of these teams have 2 wins, and a big win here will get them maybe at the 8th seed. As we know, 8 teams will be advancing to the playoffs. You want to get into that position and have a good performance here at the Southorn Stadium.
Tayshaun Taylor arrived in Vietnam last Sunday. They weren't able to practice. It's actually the first time that Taylor joined his teammates moments before this game at shoot-around. So let's see how fast they can gel as a unit.
They're probably going to be needing name tags at one point to talk to Tayshaun Taylor. But you know, the thing is, sometimes you just have to play basketball. And Tayshaun Taylor, we know that he has the pedigree, he has the talent. It's just a matter of finding a way and finding out what are the strengths and weaknesses of some of his teammates. We know that the Saigon Heat team, at their ceiling, they have a ton of firepower, especially with guys like Chris Durker and Sam Thompson working hard in the paint. This should be an interesting challenge against this Hong Kong Eastern squad that has a lot of height as well in the front court.
This is the battle between 2 teams that are looking to generate some momentum here in the ASEAN Basketball League. You saw Coach Kevin Yurkus of the Saigon Heat, and of course, Coach Jordan Brady, the head coach of Hong Kong Eastern. And Big Mike Holyfield wins the tip. Costner has the basketball. He gives it right away to Brandis Rayleigh Ross.
The big question for the Heat is going to be, how are they going to keep Michael Holyfield off the glass? You can immediately see it. They're trying to use some of that front court height. And good defense there by Bell to force that turnover on Holyfield.
Imagine 4 import changes for the Saigon Heat. It started with the departure of Forbes, and then Chris Charles, Aquino Williams, Torian Graham. 4 import changes, and let's see if Coach Kevin Yurkus can finally find the right combination with the entry of Tayshaun Taylor. Of course, Mike Bell just came on from the Macau Wolf Warriors in their last matchup.
Well, you see here some of the speed as well on that drive by Taylor. Trying to find his teammates on that cut, but Holyfield is there to bat that away. 9 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
Thompson on the floater. Too strong. Holyfield comes up with the rebound.
There's the guy on your screen, Brandis Rayleigh Ross. He has really been the catalyst for this Hong Kong Eastern squad. Everything revolving around him. They really trust him a lot with the ball in his hands to create for Hong Kong Eastern.
And it looks like they're trying to set up Big Mike Holyfield underneath, but because they couldn't, Hong Kong trying to generate some offense elsewhere. Just a sorry miss right there from Wing. They go down low to Jerker. Jerker jump hook. Wing comes up with a board. Hong Kong Eastern is running. Brandis Rayleigh Ross fakes the pass, shoots a three, unable to put it down.
We saw that Rayleigh Ross is getting more and more comfortable in the ABL. He has been stroking that shot, especially in that last game against the Dreamers, against Fubon Braves rather.
Bell knocks it down from the perimeter, the first field goal of the contest.
They're going to need a big game from Mike Bell. He has been a roller coaster early on in his career with the Saigon Heat. Let's see if he can really generate some offense to help out and also keep Holyfield away from the glass.
And that was one of the concerns of Coach Kevin Yerkes. He described keeping Holyfield off the glass as impossible. Din has the basketball. Wing is in front of him. Jerker gets it to Taylor. Taylor back to Chris Jerker. Jacks up a three. Shot was short. It is Hong Kong basketball.
There was some contact as well in that three-pointer from Jerker. And Jerker has been very comfortable shooting that three-pointer. Hasn't really fallen in often, but he's really been trying to extend his range.
John Shu on that running hook, and the foul is called. Holyfield is in disbelief. Let's take a look at this play right here.
Wow.
That's an unsportsmanlike foul called on Big Mike Holyfield. It seems that he made a move when Thompson went up for the rebound.
He was trying to plead his case to the referee, saying that when he was fighting for position in the paint, but maybe just a little bit too much contact, and that's going to be free throws for Saigon.
And Chuck, that's always the concern with regards to Mike Holyfield, the foul situation.
Right, Holyfield has been ultra aggressive, and you know that he's really chomping at the bit to take advantage of the situation because he's a big man. He averages 15.6 boards per contest. And against this team, against the Saigon Heat, still trying to find their way, still trying to learn. He knows that he's in for a big night. He's averaging 14 points and 15 rebounds per contest. And Holyfield, although saddled with that early foul, he's got to be more careful in terms of his aggression.
He did a good job staying on the floor against Fubon, playing 36 minutes and grabbing 17 rebounds. Thompson from the corner. Sam Thompson, nothing but sweet string music on that shot.
Steady Sam Thompson when things have been going awry for the Saigon Heat this season. He has just been consistent, churning away at those double-doubles.
Costner gets it to Holyfield. Oh, they're really trying to establish the big man, but Holyfield with a frustrating start to this game. This time, he's called for traveling.
We've got in turnovers, we've got in a bunch of fouls as well from Holyfield. That's turnover number 2 early in this game. And he got good position in the paint, but again, he's just got to calm down a bit because he's really looking to score in every opportunity.
Taylor to Jerker. Jerker makes a move, kicks it out to Mike Bell. Tries from the outside, tipped in by Thompson. A 9-0 start for the visiting Saigon Heat.
Disastrous start for Hong Kong Eastern early in this game. And they've got to slow down and maybe get the ball in the hands of Brandis Rayleigh Ross, who gets the first 2 points of Hong Kong Eastern.
Ever since Brandis Rayleigh Ross arrived, the fortunes of Hong Kong has changed 2-1 since his arrival. But there's the response from his counterpart, Tyshawn Taylor.
You know, the thing about Taylor we're seeing early on, he's just never in a hurry. We'll wait until he gets to his spot and then he will elevate for that shot.
John Shu from the corner. Now Hong Kong is starting to heat up.
Remember far, Hong Kong notched 18 three-pointers against the Braves. So you gotta know that's part of the game plan for the Heat. Do not allow penetration, because when you do, that's when those shots are wide open, especially from the corner.
Miguel sees Taylor. Back-to-back baskets for Tyshawn Taylor. Welcome to the ABL.
Are we sure he has not been playing with them this entire season? He has looked smooth early on with the Saigon Heat.
Fresh from Italy, playing for Coach Larry Brown. But Brandis Rainey Ross trying to let everybody know that he's the best point guard in town.
That's the thing about Tyshawn Taylor. Since he's new in the league, does not yet know the tendencies or how to defend Rayleigh Ross. So the hezzies, the pull-ups, those have been working so far for Rayleigh Ross. Back-to-back baskets.
Dierker steps back. A lot of space to shoot the three, and he makes the defense pay.
A 27% three-point shooter is Chris Dierker. So if you're Hong Kong Eastern, you're going to trust the numbers, but maybe that changes because Dierker's now 1 for 2 from beyond the arc.
Costner, still looking for his first field goal, is able to draw a foul on Thompson.
We have not seen Costner yet being aggressive in the basket. It has really been Rayleigh Ross and Michael Holyfield, but there Costner just putting his head down and saying, let me just get to the free throw line and get some easy points for my squad.
Costner did not have a good shooting night against the Fubon Braves. 6 out of 14 from the field, 3 out of 8 from beyond the arc, although he did add 6 rebounds and 6 assists.
You just look at this front court for Hong Kong Eastern, and you can really see that they're trying to put a lot of size together with their shooters. Guys like John Chu, guys like Leakey and Rayleigh Ross. You can trust in Costner and Holyfield to really provide some of the inside scoring and also the rebounding to at least complete this lineup for Hong Kong Eastern.
And Chuck, it seems that that's the game plan in the beginning of this game. Trying to take advantage of the lack of natural bigs from the Saigon Heat.
And that's the thing, as Tam Din misses from the outside. If you're Hong Kong Eastern, yes, you're going to keep attacking relentlessly. You're pounding the rock so that when you get towards the second half, maybe that's when you can start to put some points in the paint.
Dierker. That time, Costner challenged him. Mike Bell picks up the loose ball, throws it out to Din. Din moves closer to the hoop. Fade away by Thompson.
Beautiful.
Sam Thompson with 7 points already in the contest.
Sam Thompson has been lurking in the shadows while Tyshawn Taylor has been the man. Thompson has been delivering as well.
And Coach Jordan Brady calls a timeout. His team is down 18-7. We are going to keep a good eye on him as he figures in a very interesting matchup with the debuting Tyshawn Taylor. So Brandis Rayleigh Ross from South Carolina versus the former Kansas Jayhawk.
4 points for Rayleigh Ross early in this ball game, and one thing we notice is that the Heat have actually been using the strength of Hong Kong, which is their size, to fly up and down the floor and get some baskets in transition.
Thompson wanted to throw it down. Dierker trying to put it up and then no go. And Costner comes up with a loose ball to the light. of the crowd here inside Southorn Stadium.
Gotta show love as well to Rayleigh Ross and on the way that he challenged and his crash as well. Good to see him get back up right away.
Rayleigh Ross, ball tip from behind. These are two cerebral point guards, Rayleigh Ross and Taylor.
You can get the feeling that they're just trying to feel each other out right now in terms of finding out what their strengths and weaknesses are. Beautiful.
John Shu receiving that inbound pass and capitalizing on the three.
John Shu is coming up a rock-solid performance, already eclipsing his 5-point output. However, on the other end, will someone put a body on Taishan Taylor? That is a question that the coaching staff of Hong Kong Eastern wants to know.
While everybody was celebrating, Taishan Taylor slid through the back door. Brandis Rayleigh Ross kicks it out the wing, throws it out to the right wing. Shu looking for Holyfield. Great anticipation by Bell. Thompson, cross-court pass. Din gets it to Jerker.
Better transition defense here by Hong Kong Eastern.
Taylor, pass was too high up for Din.
And those are one of the rare moments that Taylor's not been able to communicate properly. The pass a little bit awry, that forced a turnover. And Ginchar coming on the floor for Hong Kong Eastern. Let's see if he can provide a spark for his team right now.
I think Taylor is used to passing to guys at least 6'5", coming from Italy.
And that was a cross-court pass for any league, for any player. That's a tough one to make.
Meanwhile, Brandis Rayleigh Ross wide open for the three. And the scouting report is still being drawn up for Taishan Taylor here in this game. Back-to-back turnovers there.
Nice trap there by Hong Kong Eastern in the backcourt. And beautiful once again. And Rayleigh Ross saying, you know what? Everyone is in a funk. Let me just get my team back in this game.
9 points in the game for the starting point guard for Hong Kong. Taylor getting it to Bell. Win all the way.
That's back-to-back turnovers for Hong Kong Eastern. And during the timeout, Coach Jordan Brady said we've got to turn up our defense, our defensive intensity, because Saigon Heat is just waltzing in the paint, and now they've decided to really fall back and stop those passing lanes from being wide open.
It is a 7-0 run now for Hong Kong Eastern.
And notice, Anton, they've done it not by forcing it in the paint. They've done it from their defense generating their offense in transition, and that's how Hong Kong Eastern wants to play.
And Taishan Taylor looks a little bit winded. Again, he came from Italy, just arrived in Vietnam last Sunday.
Does he even know what time it is or what day it is right now? Maybe the time difference is affecting him, but nice response there by Mike Bell.
Off a pass from Taishan Taylor. And Brandis Rayleigh Ross almost threw it down. Big Mike Holyfield releasing his frustration at the rim. Justin Young with the response.
Both teams are shooting, waxing hot from beyond the arc. But Hong Kong Eastern has to know as soon as the shot is in, Saigon Heat is off to the races on the other end.
An explosive start to this matchup between Hong Kong and Saigon. Guncher.
First shot of the game for Steven Guncher, and the lead is down to 3 for the Saigon Heat.
It was as high as 10. Taishan Taylor throws it out. Mike Bell. Wow. Mike Bell silencing the crowd.
That is three-pointer number. That's now 3 for 6 from beyond the arc for the Heat.
Wing throws it out to Brandis Rayleigh Ross. Gunshot to Wing. Wing driving baseline. What a finish!
Beautiful drive there from China. Shu Wing really got Sammed in. Shocked that he was going to go all the way to the basket. Usually when you've got a local, penetration leads to a pass to the big man or to the import, but Chan Shu Wing decided to go all the way to the rack.
And now the ball is with Taishan Taylor. Gets it to Young. Shoots a 3. unable to put it down, and a last shot opportunity here for Brandis Rayleigh Ross. Listen to the crowd. Brandis Rayleigh Ross almost blew the roof off of the building.
Tough start for Hong Kong Eastern, Anton, but they got their bearings, led by a spectacular performance by Brandis Rayleigh Ross. He had 9 points in the first quarter alone.
You're watching Season 10 of the ASEAN Basketball League. We will be back for the second period. Saigon 28, Hong Kong 24. Greatness continues here in Hong Kong as we are saying hello from inside the Southorn Stadium in Wanchai. Anton Ross together with Chuck Araneta as we bring you this matchup between the Saigon Heat and the home team, Hong Kong Eastern.
Rock solid start for Tyshawn Taylor. Anton, he had 6 points and 5 assists in the first quarter alone to lead his team.
And here he is, getting it to Justin Young. Quick pass to Mike Bell. Mike Bell short on that baseline J.
The head of the snake is really Tyshawn Taylor, and that's something that Hong Kong Eastern has started to identify. And now they're going to be turning up their defensive intensity. They've been trying to really trap and be aggressive.
Holyfield!
Big to big action there for Hong Kong Eastern.
What a pass by Costner. Great collaboration between the bigs, as you just mentioned. Young from the outside, too strong. And Costner comes up with the rebound.
And that's the kind of big man action you need. Not pounding it in the paint if you're Hong Kong Eastern. You penetrate and then you find your big man when you get inside. And that helps as well.
Guncher, his second triple of the contest.
And that's also the first lead of the game for Hong Kong Eastern. Then come all the way after a disastrous start.
Bell trying to give the lead back to the Heat, and he does.
Looks like we're getting good Mike Bell in this ball game against the Hong Kong Eastern. He struggled in the last one, did Mike Bell. Only 11 points at 4 of 11. That's not going to happen tonight.
Meanwhile, Costner trying to get a make from the outside. Costner has not scored in this game, Chuck.
He has really been more of a facilitator. He missed both of those free throws he had in the first quarter. Foul there. It's a little stare down as well.
Clear foul on Tran. Rayleigh Ross. Let's see if Costner will become more aggressive here. Mike Bell could not complete the steal as Zhu was posting up the much smaller Tran.
They've been running more pick and rolls for Holyfield and for Rayleigh Ross. Instead of him getting in the middle, they're trying to get Holyfield with a full head of steam. You saw that work when Costner hit him for the lob. And that's the difference in attack for Hong Kong Eastern here in this second period.
Costner to Holyfield. Holyfield, too much power on that jump hook.
Defense.
Taylor to Bell, top of the key, 3 for Mike Bell. 15 big points already for him.
Coach Jordan Brady is staring daggers at his players. Bell just hit a three-pointer in the previous position, then you're gonna leave him wide open.
15 points, including 3 triples for Mike Bell. What a start.
And what a struggle as well for Holyfield. He has really tried to make his presence felt in this ball game, but so far Anton, it has really led to more turnovers than points.
Taylor. Costner in front of him. Young gets it to Bell. Another one for Mike Bell. Wow.
You know, at this point, you're sensing that Holyfield is just not comfortable there in the perimeter. He's used to banging bodies against bigger guys. He's just giving Bell too much space in the first half.
Zhu looking for Gunchard on the outside. Wow. And the Heat force a turnover.
Again, if you take a look at the replay and all the space there, Holyfield is just not comfortable venturing beyond the painted area. But Bella said, if you're not going to step up to me, then I'm going to step up and make this shot from outside.
Holyfield will take a seat. So it will be Costner defending Mike Bell now. Taylor from the outside. Shot was short. And Zhu comes up with the rebound. Costner, seeing a smaller man in front of him, just bullied his way to the basket.
And that's the difference between the two guys. Costner, even though he's got size, is more comfortable putting the ball on the floor, something that Holyfield is not doing. And he just brushed away Durger and got to the rack. Nice little attack from top of the key.
Maybe that's exactly what Costner needed to get himself going. Nobody clogging the lane. Costner just running through everybody like a truck.
Consistent is Brandon Costner for Hong Kong Eastern, averaging 25 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists per contest.
Thompson, inside pass, Jerker, blocked from behind. Thompson, misfiring on that triple try. Rayleigh Ross has the basketball. Rayleigh Ross. And it seems that Taylor seems a little bit winded. He couldn't keep up with Rayleigh Ross.
And you know what? Rayleigh Ross looked like he was surprised that he was that wide open when he got to the free throw line. Hesitated before he got that jumper to fall.
Taylor throws it out to Tran. Thompson finishing with the left hand.
So it has been the penetration of Saigon Heat that has caused all kinds of problems. If it's not Tran, it's Tyshawn Taylor getting to the paint. The defense collapsing on him, and guys like Bell and Thompson have been given space and been able to make their shots.
Gunchard driving baseline. Bell steals the basketball. 3-on-1 fast break. Thompson lobbing it up to Bell. Bell pivots, shoots, and scores. What a night it has been so far for Mike Bell.
You know what? Right now, Saigon is just playing basketball. They've thrown out the playbook, and what they're doing is being relentless on defense, and that has really fueled their offense, because when you're able to get a defensive stop, you're not allowing your opponents to set up their defense, and that's when you get all kinds of mismatches. You get uncomfortable players in uncomfortable positions, and that's where the Heat have been able to capitalize here in the first half.
Mike Bell with 21 points here. And we still have 5 minutes and 41 seconds remaining in the first half.
And remember that this is just 2 games since Torian Graham tied the ABL season scoring record of 45. Could Bell be the next guy to do that for the Saigon Heat?
He takes a seat, Chuck, getting a good high five from Coach Kevin Yerkes.
Hong Kong Eastern breathing a sigh of relief. Let's see if they can get back into this game with Bell taking a rest.
Rayleigh Ross lobs it up top. Holyfield, look out below!
So without Bell, the chess match begins. Jordan Brady brings back in Holyfield, and there's really no one who can match up with the size of Holyfield here in Saigon.
Jerker against Holyfield. Jump hook is good for Jerker.
They have been attacking Holyfield, whether it has been on putting the ball on the floor or challenging him to step up. That has worked so far for the Heat.
Badly misfiring on that shot was Brandis Rainey Ross.
Remember that when Hong Kong Eastern won the championship a few years ago, their identity was on defense. The way that they were pressing and trapping, that was their identity. You know, the offense was really second, and for them to get back to that championship pedestal, they need more plays like that one.
Another turnover by Taylor. Rainey Ross could not put it down, but Holyfield does with a knockout of a dunk.
Thunderous dunk there from Holyfield, in response there from Taylor did not work.
Hong Kong down by 6. Rainey Ross, Thompson is in front of him. John Shu, too strong. Tran comes up with a board. Chris Jerker over Holyfield. Holyfield really daring these players to shoot the long ball. Oh, pass was too high for Holyfield, but Holyfield saying he was pushed from behind.
Once again, they tried to force it inside to Holyfield. Instead, that resulted in turnover number 10 for Hong Kong Eastern.
We have a timeout. Saigon leads Hong Kong 44-38. Between two teams that are looking to generate some momentum here in Season 10 of the ABL. Saigon coming here to Hong Kong with a 2-5 win-loss record. Hong Kong winning 2 of their last 3 games are at 2-4 as of the moment.
And both teams recognizing that despite the struggles, it's still early on in the season. But the thing is, you don't want to get too buried deep down into these standings.
Thompson from Bell could not put it down. Holyfield gobbles up the rebound.
If you're Saigon, the one thing you're monitoring for Coach Kevin Yurkus has been the number of minutes that the starters are playing. They've only fielded in 7 deep, so fatigue might be an issue down the stretch. Ooh.
Wing with a killer crossover. Holyfield could not catch the basketball. Wing looking for Costner. Costner recovers, shoots with the left. Holyfield was ready to throw it down. No foul called. And this is Tyshawn Taylor.
A lot of contact. There was a verbal smack there in that shot by Holyfield. But you know, those are the breaks of the game, and Taylor able to capitalize.
Wing lobbing it up top for Holyfield. Holyfield, one more try, and he will head to the line for 2.
Bell and Holyfield. Oh, remember Holyfield already has an sportsmanlike foul early in the first quarter. He's got to control that temper. But the thing about Holyfield is he's gotten a lot of good opportunities, and he just has not been able to catch that ball properly. Although that was a tough pass from John Shu. But in previous possessions, they have led to turnovers. So Holyfield has to know that he is going to be one of the focal points because of his size advantage inside against the Saigon Heat.
And now Holyfield telling one of our referees that he will keep his mouth shut from now on, realizing that he was called for an unsportsmanlike foul earlier.
In other words, it's called choosing your battles. And Holyfield has chosen to keep silent in the stretch.
His team down by 7 with 3 minutes and 8 seconds to go in the first half. Holyfield 1 for 2 on that trip to the free throw line.
Rayleigh Ross still leading the team in scoring with 11 points. While second is Holyfield on a bunch of dunks in on the other end. Boy, Taylor has been unstoppable inside, Anton.
Slithering through the defense for that lay-in. Saigon on top 48-39.
The Hong Kong Eastern was able to get the lead already in the second quarter, but Heat have just been, it really feels like Taylor has just been with this team forever, the way it has been able to run this offense.
Rayleigh Ross. He's a tremendous competitor. Every time Taylor gets a basket, Rayleigh Ross seemingly wants to get one right back.
Nice use as well in that pick and roll. Froze the defense, got into the spot he wanted to, and was able to elevate for that mid-range jumper.
Taylor throws it out to Mike Bell. Din, no good. Holyfield fouled as he went up for that rebound.
Din actually missed his teammate who was wide open for that three-pointer, but maybe time running out. And that's a good stop there from Hong Kong Eastern on Saigon Heat. So Tam Din will take a seat again. Not a lot of players being fielded. If you look at the bench of Saigon right now, they basically only have 5 players in uniform. So that's and only 2 of them have played so far in this game. Off the bench, at least.
And that's a good point you made, Chuck. And later on, we will monitor the situation with regards to the fatigue of the players. Rayleigh Ross floating it up, way short. Holyfield could not put it up and in. And the Heat corralled the loose ball.
Once again, Saigon looking to attack an early offense. Whew. There are just some moves that you know that a player is at a different level. And for Tyshawn Taylor, he has not done it with blazing speed, freakish athleticism. He has done it by taking his time and getting to his spot on his own time.
This is a guy who played with Deron Williams and Joe Johnson for 2 seasons in the NBA. And when we come back, he will shoot 2 free throws. Tyshawn Taylor, the new point guard for the Saigon Heat, troops the free throw line. Impressive debut so far, Chuck, for this guy who played for the Brooklyn Nets for 2 seasons.
10 points for Tyshawn Taylor in this ball game, together with 6 assists. And although he missed on that first one, for Hong Kong, I think that the adjustment at the second half has to be getting the ball out of his hands, whether it's putting him in traps or maybe being a bit more aggressive on him off ball on defense. You do not want him to run the offense if you're Hong Kong Eastern, because he's just so effective and so patient as well on when he has the ball in his hands.
Costner quickly spinning baseline, and Brandon Costner gets on the board.
On the other end for Saigon, the challenge is going to be, will they be able to keep Holyfield and Costner off the boards and off the paint?
Thompson trying to tip it in. And Taylor apologizing. The pass was too high even for Sam Thompson. Good shirt. Not good shy at all.
That is a beautiful stroke there from Gunshire from outside, and he's done it even with the defense on him. Nice little release valve there for Hong Kong Eastern.
Bell, short, and Costner comes up with a loose ball. Gunshire to wing, back to Gunshire.
Hong Kong will take its time now that the defense of the Saigon Heat is back.
Costner to Rainey Ross. Rainey Ross in the paint, throws it out. Gunshire again. Too strong. Ooh. And Rainey Ross will apologize as he was battling with Tyshawn Taylor for that rebound. Right. Taylor a little bit shaken up though.
Bad landing there from Tyshawn Taylor. You see here in the replay that the momentum of Rayleigh Ross really got him into the path, and Taylor staring daggers at Rayleigh Ross. Although obviously that was not intentional, that was just a basketball play, and Rayleigh Ross did have to pay the price as he was called for that foul.
Coach Kevin Yerkes calls a timeout. 29 seconds remaining here in the first half. Southorn Stadium in Wan Chai, Hong Kong. And throwing the ball inbounds is the new point guard for the Saigon Heat, Tyshawn Taylor. Let's see what Coach Kevin Yerkes drew up out of that timeout.
Taylor's been spectacular in his debut for Saigon. Running the show, he's been a point guard that the Heat have desperately needed all season long.
Yerkes. Tran for three. No go. Rainey Ross to Gunshire. Shoots a three. Short. And Hong Kong runs out of time. Wing was not aware that the clock was about to expire.
Boy, but Hong Kong escaped because that was a beautiful elevator play that was able to get Quatran wide open. However, Hong Kong Eastern hanging around. Saigon Heat, though, have been spectacular here in the first 20 minutes of action.
Halftime stats, analysis, and more when we come back. You're watching Season 10 of the ASEAN Basketball League. front 49-46 here tonight in Hong Kong as the Heat look to pick up their third victory in Season 10 of the ASEAN Basketball League. Hong Kong hoping to do the same thing as we have begun the third quarter of play.
It's been a difference of styles. In the first half, we witnessed Anton as Hong Kong Easterners really tried to force it into the paint, guys like Holyfield. But on the other end, for Saigon Heat, it was Mike Bell and Tyshawn Taylor who led the charge. They knocked down 7 of 18 from beyond the arc, and they also had a bunch of points in the paint. But for Hong Kong Eastern, the numbers look good. They actually shot 54% from beyond the arc as well. Let's see if they can capitalize and get back into this game against a very determined Saigon Heat team.
That's a foul on Chris Jerker as he was trying to steal the ball away from John Shu. Defense getting tight here in the early goings of the period. Very different from what we saw in the first half when both teams were just flying up and down the basketball court.
In fact, only a total of 9 fouls were called in the entire first half.
And another foul called, Chuck.
Well, that's the thing if you're Hong Kong Eastern, because it was too easy. Saigon Heat was too comfortable on their offense in the first half. So if you're Hong Kong Eastern, you have to at least make them think about putting the ball on the floor or making passes. And also they're going to try to put some pressure on the defense of Heat as well.
Randy Ross limping a little bit after shooting that floater. Let's hope he's okay. Offensive rebound for the Heat. Taylor inside pass to Thompson. Thompson to Bell. Bell continues his scoring rampage here tonight.
It's been a different point of attack for Mike Bell to start this second half. He was spectacular in the first half, not especially from outside. But Tyshawn Taylor's found a nice little rhythm with both Bell and Thompson in this game.
Wing throwing it out to Costner. Costner, 7 on the shot clock. Costner fouled. That's the third foul called on the Heat here in this period.
The Heat did an excellent job of really defending without fouling in the first half. But for Hong Kong Eastern, we mentioned in the first half, so they're going to try to keep pounding that rock and getting that ball in the middle. They know that they have an advantage there. Costner and Holyfield, you can expect a big dose of that, of attacking in the paint here in the second half. What also has been keeping Saigon ahead of Hong Kong Eastern was the 11 turnovers by the home team in the first half. So a bit more disciplined offense here for the Hong Kong Eastern, and this could be a very different last 20 minutes of basketball action.
Costner, a frustrating evening for him so far. Just 5 points in the contest for the big man.
1 of 5 from the free throw line as well.
Jerker zips past by Costner. So even on defense, Costner is having a difficult evening.
Solid performance by Chris Durker. He's got 7 points already in this ball game. Missed a lot of time because of an injury in the past few games of the Heat. They're happy to have their big man back.
Randy Ross missing on that runner. Taylor makes his move. Taylor! Wow!
You know what you love about Taylor? As soon as he got that ball, he was already calling for his teammates to get in position. And that's a sign of a true point guard. Head up, always looking to see what the best possible play is.
Sure, too strong. Holyfield with another two-handed dunk.
Holyfield has gotten a lot of his points off of passes in the paint or offensive rebounds. And he has really been trying to attack this matchup against the thinner Mike Bell.
Jerker against Costner, throws it out. Bell, mid-range, short. Thompson with the offensive rebound. Jerker will step back and shoot the 3. Shot was short. It is Hong Kong basketball.
That has been something that Durker loves to do. Even though he has a shot, sometimes he will pass that up to look for a 3-pointer. And it has been mixed results during those kinds of shots by Durker.
Wing, switching hands. Holyfield puts it up and in. 30 points for Holyfield.
He seems, Anton, to have really just taken a deep breath and slowed down. He knows that his height will always be an issue against the defense of Saigon Heat, and now he's going to take his time.
Taylor, too strong off the glass, shaken up a little bit. Hong Kong has the numbers. Rayleigh Ross off the glass and in.
That was just too easy for Rayleigh Ross. Just a simple pick there. No one stepping up, and Rayleigh Ross continuing to sizzle for Hong Kong Eastern.
Taylor. Bell draws the mismatch. Holyfield with a rejection. Taylor floating it up over Holyfield. Easy money for Tyshawn Taylor.
Just a smooth operator. Again, not attacking. He already knew that his teammate got his shot swatted because he tried to go for the layup. So he just arced that one with a high little rainbow over Holyfield to get the deuce.
Rayleigh Ross. Free throw line jumper does not drop. Mike Bell comes up with a rebound.
Good stop there by the Saigon Heat. Much better on the challenge on shot of Rayleigh Ross.
Durker. Second time he has scored against Costner here in the period.
This is what you like to see from Chris Durker when he's not settling for that shot, when he puts the ball on the floor using that big body. He has really evolved his game. Last season, more of just a dunker, more of a rim runner, but now he has shown flashes of being able to put the ball on the floor and create for himself.
Costner inside to Holyfield. Holyfield could not control the basketball. The Heat are running. Durker again. Here he comes again. Just couldn't put it down. And now it's Hong Kong's turn to run.
That's okay because you're putting pressure on the defense.
Win for three.
But on the other end, the Heat have to recognize that Hong Kong is on fire from beyond the arc. They've got to challenge and get the next available man in transition defense.
That was the 7th triple of the game for Hong Kong.
Taylor tried to nutmeg someone on that pass.
Pass was too far ahead for Mike Bell. They're having a conversation about it. We have a timeout. The Heat lead Hong Kong 59-57. Ever since Hong Kong went on that 7-0 run after being down 20-10 in the first quarter.
And Rayleigh Ross leading the way once again, 17 points, 7 rebounds and 6 assists, while Holyfield with 13 and 12, he already has a double-double. Those two guys have been the catalysts for Hong Kong here in this third quarter.
Rayleigh Ross, bounce pass to Holyfield. Holyfield to Costner. Costner. Holyfield with a putback.
Big to big action. A nice cut there by Costner. Even if he didn't get that shot to fall, Anton, the defense collapsing on him, that allowed Holyfield space to gather and smash that one home.
15 big points for Big Mike Holyfield. Durker steps back, shoots it over Holyfield. Shot was short, and Rayleigh Ross has the basketball. The score is tied at 59 all. Costner, can he break the tie? Too strong. And Costner will corral the loose ball.
Back tap there from Gunshire, forcing or rather giving an offensive rebound here to Hong Kong Eastern. See if they can capitalize on the second opportunity.
Randy Ross gives the lead back to the home team.
The last time that Hong Kong got the lead, the response of Saigon Heat was a big run. And now that they have the lead, it's going to be about managing it. See if they can get Tayshaun Taylor to not take control of this ball game once again.
Durker with a miss. And back comes Hong Kong. Randy Ross gets it to Holyfield, who hands it back to Brandis. 10 on the shot clock. Chan Shu Wing all the way!
Chan Shu Wing putting someone on a poster. An excellent drive there, top of the key. A one-on-one spectacular move for Hong Kong Eastern.
Then looking for Bell. Bell to Taylor. 7 on the shot clock. Taylor zips a pass to Bell, shoots a 3. Mike Bell with another silencing triple.
You can't even say anything about the defense of Costner. He was right there. Mike Bell is just on fire. He's got 26 points, 5 of 7 from beyond the arc.
Hong Kong on top by 1, 63-62. Costner, can he get going in this game? Costner using that big body, and he puts it in.
You know, this is a matchup, Anton, they haven't really capitalized on because they've been trying to attack Bell with Holyfield, but Costner also has a lot of heft in him against Sam Thompson.
Oh, what a move. Oh, everything but the shot there by Tayshaun Taylor. And that's an offensive foul on Holyfield as he ran over Durker.
That's the right choice of words. Durker was literally there and Holyfield just shoved him out of the way.
But he stayed true to his word. He didn't say anything to the referee.
Again, he's choosing his battles. But yeah, Durker just stood there. And Durker's not a small guy, but Holyfield just shoved him out of your frame.
Under 2 minutes to play here in the third. And the foul away from the ball as Thompson was trying to seal Gunshire in the paint.
We've been monitoring as well the fatigue level of Tayshaun Taylor, but no, so far it seems like he hasn't really had a drop-off in terms of his production. He has still been rock solid so far for Saigon in this ball game with 15 points.
Thompson tried to seal Gunshire again, but pass was off the mark.
So now the challenge is for Saigon. How will they respond now that Hong Kong has gotten very comfortable with their offense, especially with Costner and Holyfield attacking?
This is Brandis, Randy Ross. Inside pass, Holyfield lost control. Chan Shu Wing, no. Holyfield with a rebound.
That's a big boy right there, and Holyfield making his presence felt despite the presence of 2 Saigon Heat players.
Oh, what a pass. Oh! Oh, no. Oh, no. Wing holding on to his left knee. There wasn't much contact as he went up for that shot. This is not a good sign. Let's take a look at it one more time on the replay. Nobody there.
And the way that he went up when he was in the air, he reached for his knee immediately. And as you mentioned, there was no bump, there was no contact. And there have been moments when we've seen this in other, in other leagues, in other players. And we don't want to say this on air, but we're hoping for the best for Chan Shu Wing.
And that was a great cut by him. And the patience of Randy Ross waiting for the play to unfold. Well, he's been playing so well as you hear the applause from the crowd. 9 points for Chan Shu Wing here in this contest.
9 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, and that's a good sign that he's walking off on his own power. Nice applause there by the Hong Kong Eastern crowd. And you also got to appreciate even the guys on the Saigon Heat checking up on Chan Shu Wing. Let's hope maybe he was just shaken up or maybe a sprain of some sort. He's being checked on right now by the medical staff of Hong Kong Eastern.
It was on the plant.
Yeah.
As he went up for that shot. Now his left knee is going to be checked on.
Initially, the coaching staff of Hong Kong was saying maybe that Quatran pushed him on the way, but he was really nowhere there. Chan Shuing just left him in the dust.
Less than a minute to play here in the third. Costner backing down his defender. Thompson slaps the ball away. Randy Ross, 5 on the shot clock. Randy Ross from the corner. Holyfield with the offensive rebound. Ball is loose, picked up by Mike Bell. Bad pass by Holyfield.
Another wasted opportunity for Hong Kong Eastern after they got that offensive rebound on Tom.
Tran throws it out. Justice Young steps on the sideline.
A turnover, one after the other for both squads. That was the 13th, check that, 14th turnover already for Hong Kong Eastern. Was he? Looks like, yeah. The right foot was there on the white line. So wasted opportunity there. The Heat, he was wide open as well. They were about to raise up for that shot.
The shot clock is off, and the ball is with Brandis Randy Ross. Tyshawn Taylor in front of him. Randy Ross makes his move, creates some space. Randy Ross too strong as Taylor launches from way out and nearly breaks the camera of the photographer. Tyshawn Taylor coming over to check if the photographer is okay, and she smiles as the quarter ends with Hong Kong leading Saigon 65-62. As the home team leads the visiting Saigon Heat 65-62 as we get ready for the start of the fourth quarter.
A much better defensive effort by Hong Kong Eastern in the third quarter. They held the Heat to only 13 points, and if there's one thing we've seen in the history of the Heat, it's not about how you start but how you finish. Will they have a much better finishing kick here? Because in the past they've had disastrous second halves.
Catch and shoot, and it works for Mike Bell.
That's a good sign for the Heat, because Bell and Tyshawn Taylor, they do not care about the history of the Heat in the season. They want to help this team get a victory now.
Brandis Randy Ross, the gun shirt, trying to respond, can't put it down, and Taylor comes up with a board. Oh no. Thompson stepping on the sideline.
And it's very rare you get transition baskets, at least in the second half against Hong Kong Eastern. They were not able to capitalize, so we're still tied up at 65 all.
Let's go, Eastern, let's go!
Randy Ross setting up the offense. John Shu pops out. Here's the post-up opportunity for Brandon Costner. Costner hops inside, puts it up, and in!
Difference in styles once again. This time they've got Costner in the post, posting up against Thompson.
Oh, wow. Thompson with a crossover and the pull-up J. 11 points for Sam Thompson.
He's in double digits, steady Sam for the Saigon Heat. And he has really been working this entire night, Anton, on defense, trying to slow down Brandon Costner.
Costner. Double team. Costner to Randy Ross. Gunshot from way out. Too strong, and Mike Bell comes up with a board.
You can expect the Heat to be more aggressive on double teaming because Chan Shuing is not on the floor. Oh, get that out of here. Try again.
Taylor has got to be one of the best in the league at slithering through defenses, making it look so easy and smooth. Oh, Thompson slipping on the floor, gets it to Tran. And Tran, everything but the shot on that play.
Nice drive there from Tran, just did not work. And on the other end is a lot of bodies flying on the floor. Big shot there from John Shu.
Defense.
12 points in the game.
Defense.
Taylor bothered. Thompson aggressive on that play.
Big boy basketball there, and that's what Hong Kong Eastern is going to make you do. They've been trying to get, Tyshawn Taylor out of this game and force other guys to beat them. And the assist numbers show that Bell already, check that Taylor has 8 assists already, 8 of the 17 total for the Saigon Heat. Hong Kong wants them to go one-on-one instead of moving that ball around and getting good shots.
Thompson could not tie the game up, missing on that bonus free throw. Randy Ross, Holyfield, deep against Bell. Holyfield bothered, could not put it down. The Heat are running. Mike Bell fouled by Costner.
Costner is a better option posting up than Holyfield. You want Holyfield getting that ball in stride and finishing with maybe one dribble or less. Costner's a much better creator in the post. And they learned that the hard way because Saigon was able to stop Holyfield and get out in transition and get free throws for with 7:19 remaining in this game.
Mike Bell, a phenomenal night for him. 29 points.
Double-double already for Bell. 30 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. And he has been doing that by also trying to contain Michael Holyfield on the other end.
So from debuting with 11 points and 6 rebounds, Mike Bell with 31 tonight.
That's with the second team this season in the ABL, Anton. Things change in a hurry here in the ASEAN Basketball League.
Randy Ross missing on that open 3. Holyfield. Wow. Just overpowering Mike Bell for another two-handed dunk.
And that's one thing Bell has been doing as well. When he knows that if Holyfield has position on in the middle, he's not going to force it. And that was almost a turnover for the Saigon Heat, but they will keep possession. Down by 1 with 6:55 remaining in the game.
Taylor able to draw a foul, and Randy Ross cannot believe it.
Not in foul trouble though is Randy Ross, although that is already their 3rd team foul in this ball game, and this 4th quarter rather.
Bell to Thompson, who has been very aggressive here in the 4th. Thompson blocked by Holyfield. Holyfield with 2 monster blocks in this game.
Big basketball being played there by the big man. Oh, but almost a big block on the other end from Tandin. No, from Quatran rather.
Randy Ross was clipped in the head. So that's going to be 2 free throws for Randy Ross.
From out of nowhere comes Holyfield, and Quatran is still pleading his case. He's lucky that he was able to avoid getting a technical foul because he was very animated when he challenged instead. Rayleigh Ross with a chance to make this a 3-point lead for the home team.
20 points for Brandis Rayleigh Ross, putting his team up 73-71. Now, Kevin Yerkes and the Heat are arguing that Rayleigh Ross already took an initial free throw. The thing was, he actually took just a practice shot because the referee did not hand him the ball yet. I don't know if that's allowed, though.
And that's what our referees are explaining right now to Coach Kevin Yerkes. And on the record, that was really only just the first free throw of Rayleigh Ross.
It's only official if the referee hands the basketball to you, right?
And when it's actually counted as one by our referees. But, you know, players will try to get away with that, you know,
yeah, he got
testing
away with
the waters.
He got away with a practice free throw there. But right before our referee gave the ball to Brandis Rayleigh Ross, he signaled 2 free throws. Now he signaled 1.
And that's what Quatran was also shouting at Rayleigh Ross, and Rayleigh Ross just kind of shrugged him away. Again, in the heat of the battle, these two teams, like you mentioned, Anton, looking for their 3rd win. This is a crucial matchup, especially if we go down the stretch and we got tiebreakers, win over the others involved in the race to the playoffs.
Young, crucial possession here for the Heat. Tran for 3, misfiring. Bell comes up with the loose ball. Bell spins and is unable to score. It is Hong Kong basketball.
Good stop there by Hong Kong Eastern as they make it all perimeter shots by the Saigon Heat. And the 3-point shooting of the Heat has really slowed down beyond Mike Bell. 9 of 26 rather in this game. However, turnover once again as an offensive foul is called on Hong Kong Eastern.
And that's the 3rd personal on Mike Holyfield. 4th team foul for Hong Kong here in the period.
Bell is 6 for 8 from beyond the arc. The rest of the team is 3 for 18. So right now, Hong Kong is challenging, daring anyone to shoot aside from Mike Bell from the perimeter.
Taylor zipping the pass to Bell, stolen away by Adam Zhu. Costner has the basketball. Costner showing us some skills. Ran into some traffic though.
Maybe could have given up the ball to Rayleigh Ross there. Oh, a late call. That is going to be an offensive foul on the Heat.
And Holyfield was bumped up.
That's his 3rd foul. 17th foul.
So that's going to be another turnover on Saigon. That is going to be their 11th turnover of the evening. What the Heat are contesting is that he got that ball off in time. At least they're saying that's what Tyshawn Taylor, check that Sam Thompson rather, was saying. However, the contact did come just as he got that pass off, so that was an offensive foul.
5 minutes and 28 seconds remaining here in the 4th. These two teams undergoing a lot of personnel changes and are really in similar situations trying to get the right chemistry going.
Especially for Heat, because they've been changing with their world imports, it seems like from game to game. But with Hong Kong Eastern, they've won 2 of the last 3 games with this combination of Rayleigh Ross, Costner, and Holyfield. Now the question is, will the locals be able to step up as well and produce like they've done in years past?
Costner short on that 3. Holyfield throws it out to Rayleigh Ross. Rayleigh Ross makes his move. Ross. Fadeaway is good.
But that's been working for Hong Kong Eastern, Anton. has been the 16 offensive rebounds that they've had compared to only 10 for the Saigon Heat. That has given them a lot of second chance points in this game.
Taylor overshoots that one.
He slowed down here in the second half. You can really feel that his offense has come and gone in the second half, especially with having to shadow Brandon Rayleigh Ross.
He has not scored here in the fourth. Talking about Tyshawn Taylor.
It has really been Miguel that has created most of the offense here.
Wow! John Shu might have even been hit there on the way down. And this is the biggest lead of the game for Hong Kong Eastern. Timeout, Saigon. His team needs to make something happen right now. And that's been the story of the game for Tyshawn Taylor. A lot of opportunities just missed at the rim.
7 of 17 is Tyshawn Taylor. And Taylor giving up that foul really just to have a conversation with our referees. Felt that he was clipped on the other end. You know, just going back to what you talked about with John Shu after that timeout, what a difference a game makes. He only scored 5 points against the Taipei Fubon Braves in their previous contest, but tonight, a perfect 4 of 4 from the three-point line and 12 points, making up for the absence of Chan Shu Wing, who went down with an apparent knee injury in the third quarter.
Rayleigh Ross to Costner. This would be big. Jerker getting it to Din. Back to Jerker. Another opportunity for the Heat. Taylor throws it out to Bell. Bell to Thompson. Looks up at the clock. It reads 10, 9, 8, 7. Bell could not tip it in. And the Heat just firing blanks here in the fourth.
Again, another one-on-one attack from the Saigon Heat. The top of the key, the bigs. Once you get into the painted area, that's where Hong Kong has a distinct advantage in this game.
Rayleigh Ross thought about the three, lobs it up top. Holyfield trying to drop the hammer. But Hong Kong Eastern with another offensive opportunity. Rayleigh Ross. Holyfield with the offensive rebound.
That is rebound number 21 for Michael Holyfield in this game.
Costner, fadeaway. Shot was short.
3 opportunities there for Hong Kong Eastern, but they were not able to capitalize.
Taylor able to draw a foul.
You know, if you're Hong Kong, you cannot be complacent against this Saigon Heat squad. You're only up by 8. There's still a lot of time in this ball game. And it looks like Tyson Taylor's made up his mind that he's going to attack with every opportunity when he has the ball.
This is his ABL debut, coming straight from Italy.
And already flirting with a triple-double. That's 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists. But you know, he is the new starting point guard for the Heat, and along with it comes some challenges, especially when he's basically just reinserted into this lineup. Guys like Scott Thompson, Quiet, even Tam Din came into this game averaging 10 points, scoreless so far. So Taylor still has a lot of getting to know you moments needed with the Saigon Heat teammates.
Coach Jordan Brady calls a timeout. From his hometown of Vernal, Utah. Brought his entire family here, and he says it's been a good experience so far. Coaching some high-level basketball in the ASEAN Basketball League.
And of course, he's coming in coaching one of the best teams in recent memory here in the ABL. Hong Kong Eastern had a lot of success with their previous coach, Edu Torres. But it's been a new day, and there have been some adjustments made, but Hong Kong seems like it's really gathering steam at the right time in this ABL season.
Randy Ross looking for Holyfield, but throws it out to Costner. Costner with a lob!
Big shot there from Brandon Costner. And you know what? During that play, Holyfield was asking for the ball from Randy Ross, but Randy Ross you know, sort of signaled him away, wanted to get a better shot, and that turned out to be the right decision.
Thompson puts it up and in. Important basket for Sam Thompson.
15 points in the game for Thompson, but they've got to get it back on the other end. They've got to get a stop here against Hong Kong.
Hong Kong trying to protect a 7-point advantage. Randy Ross to Costner. Costner shoots another 3, way short. Tyson Taylor looking for Bell. Bell being given a lot of space by Holyfield. Then back to Bell, catch and shoot. Short. Offensive rebound by Jerker.
Gotta be a quick shot here for Heat. They're running out of time.
Then badly misfiring on that shot, and Eastern will have possession.
That was a makeable shot by Tam Dini, shooting around the 40 to 50% from the three-point area, but he has just been ice cold in this game, still scoreless.
Randy Ross to John Chu. Almost a dagger there. Thompson throws it out. Jerker short. Holyfield with a rebound.
It's not pretty, Anton, but Coach Jordan Brady said that let's get a stop and let's try to slow down and get this victory. Tyson Taylor at half court already had his hands to his knees. He looks gassed right now. He has played, I think, the entire game, or at least maybe had a minute of rest. He's at 38 minutes right now. And give credit to him because he has gutted it out despite not having a lot of time. Getting to know his teammates, knowing what their tendencies are. He has produced a solid game, 17.7 rebounds and 8 assists.
It was a good matchup between him and Brandis Rayleigh Ross, but in terms of the similarities with the way they play, they both think the game exceptionally well. Rayleigh Ross apparently winning the chess match here tonight.
And it's just a difference because Rayleigh Ross is very familiar right now with his teammates, but on the other end, Taylor is not. But you know, a few more practices under their belt, knowing that Tam Din is a great shooter, and guys like Thompson really operate when they're moving away from the ball. That's really going to make the Heat a very dangerous squad. But this could be a big game as well for Hong Kong Eastern. Now they've won 3 out of their last 4 games, and they're starting to climb up that ABL playoff ladder.
And it seems that Brandis Rayleigh Ross, as he's having a good conversation right now with Tyshawn Taylor, a lot of respect being shown by the 2 point guards. He has been the game changer for Coach Jordan Brady. Imagine, they started the season 0-3 with Trey Kell, who was averaging over 30 points per game. In comes Brandis Rayleigh Ross, and now Hong Kong is about to win 3 out of their last 4 games.
You know, sometimes we're blinded by the eye-popping scoring numbers, but you know, whenever you talk to a coach and they have imports on their lineup, more than their individual production, it's how can they make their teammates better. And that's a mark of a great import. If you look at all of the great players in ABL history, guys like Chris Charles, they've sacrificed their defense to make the offense of their teammates look better, and it looks like Rayleigh Ross is cut from the same mold.
We have a timeout. Hong Kong lead the Heat 83-75. Unfortunately, it might not translate into a W. 31 points for the sweet shooting big man.
And I give all the credit in the world to the Saigon Heat squad. Undermanned, a lot of changes. The changes continued with the world import, but they battled against this very tough Hong Kong Eastern team. Unfortunately, it looks like they're gonna, fall short. But maybe, again, as Coach Jericho said, this Taylor is the guy they really wanted all along. And Torian Graham put up good numbers. But there's a different kind of vibe to this Tyshawn Taylor. If he can blend in well with Bell and with Thompson, this could be the formula that the Heat need in order to go up the playoff standings as well.
And based on our conversations with Coach Kevin Yerkos, it seems that they've been catching up with the schedule,
right,
catching up with the developments of the other teams in the ABL.
Remember, the Heat was one of the latest teams to start their season, really towards the end of 2019, early 2020. And but eventually that schedule will normalize, and they'll have more time to really get acclimated with each other.
We have another timeout. Hong Kong with an 84-75 lead over the Heat. experiencing back-to-back victories for the first time here in Season 10 of the ABL.
Something that the Heat have not yet been able to do this season, and Coach Jurka's making every opportunity a teaching moment for his Heat team. They're going to try to run a play to free up Durker here.
And Durker, that's just the story of the game for the Saigon Heat. A lot of shots missed at the rim, even by their new point guard, new import, Taishan Taylor, and Coach Jordan Brady. And Hong Kong Eastern showing a lot of respect to Coach Kevin Yerkes. The two first-year head coaches exchanging pleasantries at center court, as it is now official. Hong Kong Eastern prevails over the Saigon Heat 84-75.
A lot to like about this victory of Hong Kong Eastern. They showed that they can win against adversity. They were down early in the first quarter. The Heat were scorching hot in the first period, but again, the lack of familiarity with each other, as well as a very not a lot of depth as well from their lineup, that doomed them to a loss in the end. But still, with guys like Taishan Taylor and Miguel, future's looking good for the Saigon Heat.
So Hong Kong improves to 3-4. The Saigon Heat fall to 2-6. Impressive numbers from Brandis Rainey Ross, but what about the huge double-double performance of Mike Holyfield, Chuck?
17 points, 22 rebounds for Michael Holyfield. And though he did have some shaky moments in the first half, what he did was just plant himself in the paint and say, this is my area, and that's why he was a standout performer tonight.
And he is our player of the game tonight. Big Mike Holyfield of Hong Kong Eastern. Chuck, final thoughts before we say goodbye?
Again, if you're a fan of the Saigon Heat, as long as, you know, eventually, what they need to do is find stability right now. And if Taishan Taylor, Mike Bell, and Thompson are the keys, then that's what they should build upon, and that should be a very exciting future for this team. But on the other hand, look out for Hong Kong Eastern, because it seems like they've found a trio and a very good local crew as well that can propel them to a bunch of wins moving forward.
3-1 since the arrival of Brandis Rainey Ross. So that does it for us here at the Southern Stadium in Wan Chai, Hong Kong. On behalf of my partner Chuck Araneta, this is Anton Ross saying thank you all for watching, and we will see you all again.
5 seconds outside, Edward!
Lee Shui Lin sees an opening. Lee Shui Lin, money on the three. So turns, fires. Delvin go right there. Another block by Delvin.
Wide open is Regulus. Back-to-back triples for Mono Vampire.
Only 7 remaining. He makes his move. Young forces it up and in!
CC hasn't made a shot before that.
Pretty good so far here in the first half.
Lai, oh, everyone for the Black Bears finding the bottom